I don't think it'll do that.
Yes.
Problems with the, something going on with Halloween, thing in that area.
10/14, the 20 something, 26th is Johnson Street. And also there's something, the running is going on. Right, I mean, hopefully nobody goes together, but I mean, it's a deal that we're really.
No, I was gonna, but I can field any questions. I wasn't gonna speak about it.
Because I can do this under announcements,
Yeah, that's fine.
and then you have something to add, so
Not really, just all systems to go.
we got those.
They are
Planning
planning
board
board.
insurance.
They are gonna please the sum. That's fine.
Okay.
Mr. Adams has been to see the project, yeah, and what's that?
Okay.
Hopefully they're working.
And the grant is for that exact amount.
32.5.
Yes.
He lowered his stat. I don't know what he took out.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But.
That's all, that'll be all in the budget.
Jason Moss's thing.
Yeah.
It was a little lost.
Oh, no, I got
It's a little pop anyway, I've dealt with him before, but.
that is it, though. Right here, so I have.
Yeah.
There's the ones. Supposed to tear on out.
That is this.
Yeah. It's 6, James was 6, it's gonna be here, we should give him a couple of minutes.
He's here right now.
He's here right now.
And then there's.
It's, yeah, I have the roles, be back to the bus, it's all about that.
I'm proud of them. Very proud of them.
You don't see this on the copy today, so it's not.
It's not down there.
Wow. Get dressed up for the occasion. Bossy.
Let me know when you're ready, and then we can start.
No, no, it's delivered tomorrow for me to.
It's on small, everything, you know, from that.
We're all out.
Was out there. It was thousand machines. I text, I say why you get. That you know.
I'm so sure that the city didn't have a number of ordinance. The options of the it's straight.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ordinance 28.3. No, it's the collection and disposal of all residential waste.
Yeah, what you do, so either just, you want to say about that.
I don't know what the adoption of section 38-3. Oh. Yes.
You guys ready?
Okay. We're good. Okay, I'm going to call the October 9th, 2025 Town Council meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just as a way of announcements, Steve Plouffe is excused this evening. And the Preservation Society has obtained a grant for $32,500 for the roof replacement. And that is covered in full. Lynn Ryder can, on the townhouse, yes. And Lynn, you can speak about that when. Okay, would you like to do that now?
Lynn Ryder, Burgess Road. This was a Champlain grant that the town had gotten a long time ago. And because of the escalation in prices, what we originally wanted to do with the painting and so on just wasn't feasible with the amount of money that we had. So we were able to get a price that matches what we have to put a new roof on the townhouse.
And the
Reaching
construction is to commence on October 14th.
October 14th, the gentleman is local, Mr. Adams
Mhm.
on East Killingley Road. And he's looked at it and all systems are go.
Excellent. Okay. Public comment, Beth Smith.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Beth Smith, Foster Center Road. I am coming with some concerns about the community survey that went out this week. As somebody who has a master's degree from URI, I was required to take a research methods course, including developing and implementing unbiased surveys, which they teach how to write questions and which are neutral to ensure all respondents interpret them the same way. So a couple of things I had about the survey, starting with town services. If you are going to the town website, the town services are listed as departments. So that was confusing to me as to why some of the town services were kind of grouped together. So like we don't have a road maintenance and snow removal department, but we do have a public works department. If you go to the trash and recycling department, it is not included with the public works. So I just had some thoughts about why things were grouped together the way that they were. And then also parks, recreation, and open spaces was another one that stood out. So like if somebody has issues with the sports field or really likes the sports field, but they have different feelings about events like trunk or treat, how are they supposed to respond to this question? Or even the types of open spaces available to the public, are they very satisfied? Are they dissatisfied? So they're all kind of grouped together. It doesn't allow people to actually answer the question appropriately. And then also priorities for Foster, who chose how these topics were picked. Looking at the priorities versus community needs. I understand like there are definitely priorities for town, and we only have certain amounts of money to spend on certain things. But do priorities differ from community needs? And then again, the way that they were listed, some like youth programs and activities maybe should be under the recreation department. I don't know exactly where public transportation options would go under which department, but community events and festivals, should that be under recreation? So like how do we break these things up, or who chooses what things to put in the survey? And then also internet broadband improvements. Does this also include public safety upgrades like Foster police lines going down during storms? And then also affordable housing options was under a community need. Obviously, I thought this was more of like state law. We do need affordable housing options. So don't know if we're supposed to be asking the people of town that, but that's just a comment that I have. And then communication, how do I like to receive information? I do get all the emails. I didn't know that the town council had a social media page, but if they did, I would like to know more about that.
We don't have a social media page. There are just community pages that people post on.
So how would I prefer to receive information from the town? I do get my emails. I do go on social media. So if the town did have a page, I know there are a couple of community pages out there. And then the last one, which is probably most important, is the open feedback question. This question does not ask for open feedback. Open feedback is more an open-ended question. This one is looking for more one answer. What is the most important issue? It's not open feedback. And it restricts people to one thing and not to the total input that you guys are actually looking for. So in conclusion, I just think that the survey maybe not seems well written and is a little more biased than you guys actually intended it to be. I do think it's important to get community feedback, but I'm not sure that this was the survey that should have been sent out. I don't think it will truly reflect opinions and behaviors of the people who do or choose to respond if they ignored the first email that had a broken link, because I said I have no idea how to fill this out. And it might actually distort the data and lead to misleading conclusions and poor decision making. So I just wanted to let you guys know that. Thanks.
Okay. Lynn?
Lynn Ryder, Burgess Road. On Tuesday night, Preservation had a program at the townhouse. And it was Roger Williams came to speak to us, and he was fantastic. However, the problem was that when we arrived, the program was at 7, and some of us arrived at 6:15, and there was no electricity upstairs in the townhouse. There was down in the basement where the office is, but there were no lights up in the townhouse. Now, Roger Williams did assure us that he could speak without electricity, but it was a little iffy for the people who were attending. We did manage, because we had little battery operated lanterns that we use for trunk or treat. And Scott Knox ran home and got a couple of lamps because there was power in the walls for the switches, but there was no overhead lighting. Now, the problem was that obviously we tried to contact whomever and ended up contacting the police. They didn't know who to contact. And finally, Harry Shippey came, but he said that he did not know the DPW director was going on vacation. The DPW director had taken the town phone with him that had all the emergency contacts in it. So Harry didn't know who to call. And also ultimately what it turned out to be was there is some bizarre switch downstairs in the preservation office that is hooked up, I think, to the alarm system or emergency lighting system. And that, for some reason, controls the overhead lights inside of the building. And something had pushed up against it and shut it off. But even Harry didn't know that existed. So there should be some schematics for that building so that if something happens, you know where to look. And I'm hoping also that the electrical issues in that building are going to be addressed because they are very scary. I've looked into more little dark places and seen some really sketchy things going on, and we don't want it to burn down.
Thank you. Gordon?
Rogers Highway Director, couple of untruths for sake. Harry Shippey was well aware that I was going on vacation. My liaison was well aware I was going on vacation. The town hall was well aware I was going on vacation. I have to fill it out in the computer and have it approved prior, which it was done. I was only gone for 2 days, 3 days. I was in contact with Harry at all times. I did get a phone call. I happened to be in the shower when the police called. When I got out of the shower, I responded back to the police department. I was in contact with Harry Shippey. The electrician came the next day, and somebody down in Preservation hit a switch prior and shut the power off. For some reason, the electrical is tied through the lighting, through the alarm and the fire alarm system. So it was rectified. Somebody inadvertently, I'm assuming inadvertently, threw the switch, bumped the switch that's around floor level in Preservation's office downstairs. That's why we had a hard time figuring out. Once the electrician came in, even if you had a schematic, it would say it's going to the fuse panel through the electrical. All these systems for the fire alarm and the electrical alarm system, specifically the fire alarm, and when it's done correctly, should have its own breaker. This one does have its own breaker, but the lights are tied into it. And there should be only a switch in the fuse panel with a lock on it, so you can't inadvertently shut it off. So this predates me probably about 45 years on that system being installed. And I don't think anybody knew the issue until somebody accidentally shut the switch off. So
Sounds like it.
now we're aware of it. It'll be easily fixed. Again, they knew I was on vacation. That's an absolute mistruth. There are multiple ways that people know I have to fill out and be approved before I can go.
Okay. Sure.
That is absolutely the opposite story that we got as far as being able to contact the DPW director, knowing his whereabouts, or having any kind of awareness of the building. Now, we don't know how long that was that way. If they said the preservation bumped something, well, the preservation hasn't been near that area since the yard sale. Now, I assume, didn't the tax sale go on at the townhouse? Did they have power? No, no. So, I mean, it was a while.
Well, I mean, the building isn't used very often.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But it is a town building. It needs to be checked.
Well, now we know.
And now we know.
Now we know.
But I
And-
will
but as-
say
as-
totally opposite from what we were told.
I do know that Kelly was aware because she had called me. But I saw pictures. I'm not sure who posted them from Preservation. And before I knew what this was, I thought they were great. I thought it looked pretty cool. Yeah, no, I thought it looks really neat. Mhm. Okay. Yep. Right. So, yeah. Well, now we know. Okay. The consent agenda.
Make a motion, we accept consent agenda as presented. Second.
Is there any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. We have a second public hearing on the bulk waste proposed ordinance, and I will open the public hearing now. We had presented this before at another hearing, and there was a list of items and prices, what could be dropped off at the DPW free of charge or with a fee, and the proposed fees for bulk waste such as couches, furniture, recliners, and things of that nature. So the public hearing is open. Is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of this?
Lynn Ryder Burgess Road. I'm for getting any kind of trash off our roads, but there was, this wasn't listed or people didn't have the ability unless they went to town hall and asked for the paper to get any kind of a list. Could you read off the list? Because you're discussing something that people are they'd have no idea what's in it.
I would have to pull it up again. We have, let me see. Do you have it in front of you, Sue? Because I have to go into Sugar Sync to get that one.
The ordinances, I mean, it looks different than this one, but.
Yeah, you had a chart, a more formal chart, yes. Let me see.
It didn't.
It's exactly the same.
Right, no, I have a copy, but everybody else out there doesn't have a clue.
Mhm.
It's like-
We will, well, after we adopt it, we'll send that out through an email blast and have it. And
One time you weren't here and I read a lot of that stuff, but I guess that's the final.
yes.
And I don't think the
one-
prices changed when I read it, when it was me, Steve, and I think one other person here.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I can read it.
read.
I can read it quickly, or do you want to read it again, Catherine?
That were set by the company that picks up the trash. They're
Mhm.
not arbitrary
Right.
things that we set up.
Right. Okay, I guess I'll read them. Or do you want to?
Read it, I'll
Yes.
read it,
go
I don't
ahead.
care.
Ordinance that we will adopt just details that the town can set these fees and that they'll be set on an annual basis because the contractor or the disposal company can increase these prices at any, for each contract. So the prices that are, the ordinance is just saying that you can get a sticker for these items and that we will adopt prices. These prices are what we'll adopt to, for this fiscal year. But in subsequent fiscal years, those might change. Same items, but prices could change if the prices to the town go up.
Right.
And I just. I understand that, but right now you're asking who's for it or against it, and they don't know what they're for or against, even if it's only for this time until the next year.
Right.
They don't know.
It was available on the town website, right? Yeah. Yes. Right.
Right.
Yes.
So that's. You want it read? I can. keep it.
Okay.
I don't care. A sectional couch will be $35. A sectional couch with a pull-out bed will be $40. A standard couch is $25. A love seat is $20. A recliner is $15. A crib minus mattress. Mattresses can be disposed of free of charge at DPW. So that's $10 for the crib alone, not the mattress. Okay, wooden beds, less the rails. Rails can be disposed of in the scrap container at DPW. So wooden beds is $15. Kitchen tables, wooden or metal, $10. Kitchen tables with granite, $15. Kitchen chairs, if metal, dispose of in scrap bin at DPW, then they're $3 each. Bathroom vanities with porcelain sink, $10. Porcelain sinks, $5. Porcelain toilets, $10. Lawn patio chairs, metal, dispose of at the DPW scrap bin. Lawn patio chairs, metal frame with fabric, remove fabric and dispose of metal frame in scrap bin at DPW. Patio tables with glass, $5. Patio tables, metal, dispose of in the scrap bin at DPW. There's a back to this, but it's not pricing. It's just talking about mattress and box springs, drop off recyclable mattresses, box springs at DPW free of charge. Motor oil, drop off at DPW free of charge. See DPW staff for instructions. Paint cans, contact ECO Depot or bring to DPW on Earth Day. Propane tanks, drop off at DPW, $5 for 25-pound tanks, $10 for 50-pound tanks. Tanks must be empty. Obtain sticker prior to drop off. Scrap metal, drop off at DPW free of charge. Small appliances, no Freon. Typical electric items with a cord. If primarily made out of metal, can be dropped off at DPW free of charge.
Yes.
Anna Ireo, and I very sticky to this paper which you just heard of. Nobody will remember anything what you just heard of.
Well, you'll read it. It's on the website, right?
Well, I don't go on the website because my fingers don't work, so I need a copy of this paper.
No, I'm sure
And
Steve
then I
can
have
get
to
that.
know how long this price is in fact, for a year or for 2 years or for 3 years or however. Or this guy can shout
Yeah.
up, and we have no control over it. So
Annual.
every
So,
year,
if-
but we have a contract with them for
If
free,
the,
isn't
if the
it?
guy that's picking it up raises
Yeah.
the price, we're gonna raise the price on the paper.
That's right. And
Very
that's,
simple.
and that's a problem, because people who are in the town, they have a fixed budget, and they don't figure that they have to pay more than new items. So please.
I
that has to
understand
be
what you're
the
saying.
Advice, and I like to get a copy.
Yeah.
And you can give it to all the people who live in this town.
You can pick one up at town hall.
I will pick one up, and I pick up 100 pieces, because I will drive around and put it in other people's mailboxes.
You don't have to, because Rambone Disposal will do that, or the DPW director. If people have stuff, oh, you'll put it in other people's mailboxes? I'm sorry. Yes, yes. Okay, I got you. I got you.
I would not put anything in people's mailboxes. That's
yeah,
not
federal
legal.
offense.
That's against the law.
I just. put it in your mailbox.
No,
Okay, so where do I
that
put it?
belongs to the post office. That's federal.
You distribute it in the town, because I want to be a real stickler to this.
We're gonna send something out. We'll put something in the Foster Home Journal so everybody is aware. Yes, we'll do that. What's that? I don't know what you said. Chris, did you want to say something? No. Well, we have to decide on a date when this will be effective. And I was thinking January 1st, because we do have to buy stickers so people can actually get the stickers. So Rambone Disposal can have stickers in their trucks. If they come to somebody's house and they see a couch and they won't pick it up, they want to leave a sticker.
First they put it out, that's the point.
No, we are going to do that.
Okay, let me
We
see.
will. Yes, we definitely
Thank
will.
you.
Couple things. Ms. Rail, we are already paying this $80,000.
Your name.
Gordon Rogers, Highway Director. We're already paying $80,000 right now in your taxes because it's already getting paid for, but everybody's paying for it. This is gonna make it pay as you go. The people that use it will have to pay for it. So somebody who's not using it doesn't have to pay for it. So if you put no couches out, you're paying for your neighbor's couch when it goes currently. So now, if this ordinance passes, that neighbor will pay for their own couch, where I or you don't have to subsidize it for them. That being said, a couple things I just want to bring up. Pull out the beds in those couches. It's mentioned that mattresses and box springs go to the DPW. Make it clear that if that pull-out couch goes out, that opens up into a bed, they should take that mattress out
And bring it to the
and bring
DPW.
it to the DPW and make sure when it's paid for that the mat, because they won't pick it up with a mattress in it. They'll take the mattress out and throw it on the curb because they don't take mattresses. So I know it's couches, but if it's a pull-out couch, the mattress has to be removed and brought to the garage. You mentioned Freon, non-Freon, we take for nothing. We are charged $15 for ACs and refrigerators that have Freon in it. I don't know if you want to allow it to come and put a $15 charge. Okay, I just want to make sure. If there is no Freon, there's no charge.
The fire, one other one
Yep.
that had.
The only thing I am concerned about, refrigerator, the only thing I'm concerned about, the reason why it's $15, because when it gets to the scrapyard, they have to take it out and transfer it into a tank. I'm just concerned that they may be coming in and nothing I can control, but simply cutting the lines drains the Freon, which hurts the atmosphere, and they'll be able to drop the AC off with cut lines. I'll still be able to accept it for nothing. But just, you might want to put that in there. It's almost better for them to pay the $15 than cutting the Freon line. Something wrong. That's all I got.
Sure.
I would just urge you, rather than just have it on the website, or even an email blast, because there are so many people who don't go on the website
Mm.
or
Get
may
the
not
home
even be
journal or,
computer
mhm.
literate.
Yep.
If you had a clip out page in the Foster Home Journal, a
Mhm.
couple of them, just like we do for the recycling and garbage trash pickup,
That's a good idea.
then they could clip it out
Yes,
and save it.
yes,
Other than that, nobody's gonna know.
that's a good idea. Okay. Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Anyone like to speak against? I don't have to do it 3 times. Okay, I didn't think so. Okay, so with no more discussion, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the council. So I'll say, Chris and I had met with Rambone about, when was it, last summer? Yeah. And we asked them what they would be willing to do if we gave them stickers and they were picking up trash. If they saw something that didn't have a green sticker or something on it, would they be willing to put the red sticker informing people to contact town hall? And they were very willing to do that. And this is a way of, educating people on what the cost is that we're being charged over our regular tonnage, and finding ways to maybe dispose of it in other ways. Buy Nothing Foster, Salvation Army, things like that. But we have, the prices are reasonable, and so Ms. Rao, you don't have to pay for your neighbor's couch. Oh, you are right now. Oh, you are right now. No, you are, and everybody else is too.
Here for how long? 40 years, 30 years? No, but if you have a house, just add up the items. It costs more than tables for 6 chairs.
Well, if somebody's cleaning out that much stuff, they're required to have a dumpster or get stickers for each of them. That's all. Okay. Yes. 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 Exactly. So they. Right. Yep. Anybody have any more? No? Chris? James? Okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
So you would entertain a motion to adopt section 28.3, collection and disposal of residential bulk waste.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's any more discussion? No?
No, it's a
Okay.
good start.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Aye. None opposed. The motion passes. I said January 1st. Yes. Are yours doesn't look like,
January 1st, 2026 will be the effective date.
got it.
I think you should also make a separate motion to adopt the fee schedule as was previously read into the record, which would be for the 2026 fiscal year. Or
This
through, well,
calendar, yeah.
you want to do it through calendar year or fiscal year?
Well, yeah, fiscal year. In accordance with, yes.
And it will run with the fiscal year, so
Right.
it'll run until like July,
Mhm.
whatever the date is. But
Okay,
for the remainder of the 2026 fiscal year.
all right.
So did you get that?
Yeah.
So moved.
Is there a second? Okay. Any more discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed, so that motion passes. Okay, old business, police building update. So I spoke to Gordy Brayton this morning. He was not able to attend this evening. We have obtained the permit from the fire marshal for the foundation. And he said that the building company told him that they would be starting the first week of November at the latest. And I thought that's like 3 to 4 weeks away. So Gordy was going to get back in touch with them and ask them why it's that far out, if they had another job that they're completing and then they come back to us, or what it was. Neither of us thought that it should take that long. But at this point, they are doing some cleanup at the site. I asked about the septic system, which has been redesigned. Gordy didn't have a number for that, but when we did the contract with the building company, they wanted us to have a contingency fund for anything unexpected like this. That septic system passed in 2017 with no issues. And suddenly, when they had it tested again, it failed and they said it had to be redesigned. So in the contingency fund that we have with the builder, we have, I think, $150,000. And this will be something that comes out of that contingency. We're not going back and asking taxpayers for anything else. So it will come out of there. Gordy's going to get back to me after he speaks to them and says, why are we waiting to the 1st of November? So, or the first week of November. So we'll have another update. He's staying on them. It just seems kind of ridiculous that the permits are all in place and we have to wait another 3 to 4 weeks. So that's what we have on that. Next is the foster welcome signs. We finally, after all of this time, got approval from Rhode Island DOT. And within 24 hours of getting our written approval from Rhode Island DOT, the first sign was in the ground. We had another one the following day, and we have a third one now. The others are going to be put in, but we had to wait for DigSafe to come out because the other locations had to be approved by DigSafe prior to installation of the signs. Gordon, did you want to add to that?
Yes, so 3 signs ran as of today. We were allowed to put 2 up quick because they did not require any inspections from DigSafe. So those 2 were put in, the first 2. The first one that went in was on 102 on Victory Highway, coming from Coventry into Foster. The second one that went up is, I helped dig that too. The one that went up today is 101 because we had some lines that had to be checked there. So all the approvals from DigSafe were cleared Monday afternoon. The guys were busy Monday, Tuesday, and yesterday. So we started putting one up. The one that went up today is at 101 at the Connecticut line. We're going to be going out tomorrow with a mower and prepping and putting the one in on 101 at the Situate line. The one that I forgot is at 94 called Reynolds Road, leaving Gloucester just before you enter and come into Forster at the light at 101. It's on the Gloucester line. You can't see it at the intersection. And then we're going to work it from there. The most difficult one, I believe at this point, I'm going to need the police detail is up at Route 6 at the Situate line on that blind corner by Tucker Hollow. I'm going to need to, there's 2 lanes coming up. There's 1 lane heading west, and it's a very small breakdown lane. We may have to shift some of the traffic and get it into the oncoming lane and bring it down to 2 lanes in so we can put it in. But if not, we may be able to do it behind a guardrail by hand, but they're digging stuff. So it's 3 up. There were a total of 9. As soon as they came in on a Monday, we were on it, called for DigSafe. That cleared up, and they're going in immediately.
Great,
Excellent.
great, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Gordon.
Okay, under new business, we have the Municipal Fellow 6-month progress report. He's not here.
Yes.
Where is he?
Yeah, you can't see him.
I can't see him. Where is he? Oh, he's hiding over there. I'm
Hiding.
like, whoa.
He's hiding behind the
Sorry.
screen.
Sorry, I can't see beyond the 2 screens there.
Have some supplementary stuff, guys, as well, and I'm gonna
I really apologize for the small font. It's just to kind of help guide your understanding of the presentation and my overall goals and objectives.
Great.
So I don't know if you just. Can you hear me all right? In the mic? Okay, so I am Jeffrey Poland. I am the municipal fellow. Thank you for having me. I'm here to present my 6-month progress report to the town council. This report will provide context as to my general scope of work, the tasks I've accomplished thus far, challenges I've encountered, and targeted objectives for the next quarter. I'll try to keep this as brief and as concise as I can, and we'll be happy to answer any questions following the presentation. So let's start off with general targets. So I'm going to provide context basically for you guys as far as my scope of work and my contract and the work that is expected of me over the next 2 years. Well, the 24-month contract.
Right.
So the scope of work outlines 5 primary goals, each with their own corresponding objectives and deliverables. The following slides will provide context to each of these goals as they have defined objectives meant to guide the completion of my deliverables. As you can see, my 5 goals are to increase the housing stock and diversity within town, to engage with developers and various state agencies, to work on public education and engagement, work on the the housing chapter of the comprehensive plan and update the LMI, the low and moderate income needs assessment section, and also to work on applying for grants, specifically seeking funds for infrastructure meant to be sustainable for residential redevelopment. Okay, so this is goal 1, increasing housing stock and diversity. I'm just going to go through the objectives mostly, and I'll get to the deliverables later in the presentation. I just wanted to keep this up for you. And you can actually see that this version of this on the pamphlets that I handed out to you. So with respect to goal 1, increasing housing stock and diversity, it's expected that I draft at least 2 RFPs for housing development, explore the conveyance of at least 2 tax sale properties in collaboration with the finance director, strategy development to increase multifamily housing stock, and increase age-restricted housing in conjunction with the needs highlighted in the comprehensive plan. Next slide. As far as developer and agency engagement is concerned with goal 2, you might notice as going through these. So I'm going to read through each of them, and then I'll provide some context after that. So establishing relationships with relevant state agencies, facilitating discussions between property owners and developers, generating interest and fostered amongst developers, develop and maintain network of potential developers interested in fosters unique development opportunities. It's wordy, I know, but you might notice that many of these objectives have overlapping priorities, which means that oftentimes the work put into one of them will directly influence the outcome of the others. So I've put together this workflow in front of you as a way, it's a guide for me to be able to work as efficiently and as effectively as possible to be able to get my deliverables in a timely fashion. As far as public education and engagement, this one has been one of the harder ones for me. However, everything else that I've been working on is going to be supplemental to this aspect, to this goal. The objectives here are to include and involve data presentation on a variety of topics meant to inform the public as to the process and viability of the various housing initiatives, as well as a compilation of such data will lead to the implementation of a public education campaign on different housing types and how they might be employed to increase housing diversity while still preserving the town's rural character. I want to underscore that part. I know that there is a lot of apprehension about the idea of affordable housing within town, whether or not the town can support it, whether or not the land can support it, and whether or not there's even a market for it. But all things being equal, should we move forward with this particular initiative, any such development will keep the town's rural character as one of the foremost objectives and priorities. So it's not like you're going to see a high rise
Yeah.
going up or anything like that.
We can't
know,
do that. We don't have ladder truck.
Right. We've got height limits, but the point remains that,
Right.
we'll be working, the intent is to work directly with the community in support of this goal. Now, conversely, the comprehensive plan update is the goal that I've had the most success with so far. Objectives include updating the low and moderate income needs assessment section of the comp plan, which will be integral for the town in its efforts to comply with state mandated requirements regarding affordable housing as a percentage of the overall housing stock. So as many of you might be aware, the state currently has a 10% low and moderate income affordable housing mandate for each municipality. The state is actually working over the next year to be able to amend that, not necessarily amend it, but work with municipalities who aren't quite at their 10% mandate, which we are
Definitely.
very short of.
Very sure.
Aside from New Shoreham, which is Block Island, in all vacation homes, we are the lowest. But the state is working on implementing a formula for municipalities who are having trouble reaching their goals. There are many rural municipalities who feel disadvantaged by the 10%, one size fits all mandate. So if that passes, then we won't be expected to have 181 affordable units, by the end of the year. It'll be decided and based on the amount of building permits we receive each year, as well as taking into consideration the amount of the total housing stock that's put in each year. So it's not just about the affordable units, it's about the total housing, total building permits as a denominator with the affordable units as the numerator. Essentially.
That's a little more palatable.
Right.
Yeah.
So that'll be, they're putting that forward, and they'll be making a decision on that by the end of the year. And second objective, sorry, is to identify and address gaps related to these housing initiatives that will allow for the development of a clear methodology with measurable and actionable goals that we can present to the state as proof of our commitment to meeting our mandated requirements. Finally, infrastructure development and grant seeking, one of which is creating a proposal for wastewater management district. When I had first read that, I wasn't sure what it meant. I think that's I think Grant had actually put that together because I saw some files.
Is that a city thing? Because we don't have wastewater.
So it's essentially meant to keep septic tanks or on-site water treatment systems functional, and it requires that they maintain their functionality to support public health, because if they happen to they stop working, then that's a serious issue. So if we create a district and we would otherwise hire a district kind of manager who would oversee inventorying or making sure that all septic tanks are up to date, functional, and operable. So that's one objective. The other is to identify and apply for rural development, wastewater, or other infrastructure grants for residential development. 2 grants of which I presented a couple of months ago on behalf of Libre planners who had submitted on our behalf for the surveying of 3 town-owned properties, each of which have been identified for potential redevelopment purposes. So that's just a context of my contract, basically, and the objectives therein. And the targets that I have accomplished. So as a means of measuring success towards achieving these goals, I've developed a structured workflow that complements and identifies overlapping objectives in the pursuit of achieving each of my deliverables in an efficient and effective manner. So with respect to increasing instance, the methodology I use to measure my progress for each goal involved a multi-step process that would allow me to identify and prioritize each of my objectives. I'm not going to list every single thing that I've done in pursuit of those objectives, but I've produced title reports preliminary environmental assessments with the Rhode Island Department of DEM. Site reuse coordination with Yukon Tab, who has just submitted their final report for the Nike site. They were unable to determine present levels of contamination, but they did provide a final comprehensive accounting of the history of the site, including its contamination over the years. So moving forward, I'm in the process of working with the Army Corps of Engineer, as well as DEM, to determine the town's level of responsibility if there is remediation that is needed at that site. So I'm in correspondence with those agencies, and hopefully we'll find out what the contamination level, if any, or what the remediation will be at that site. As far as tax sales and the property conveyance, one of the properties that we have is by a tax lien. So we have to petition the courts to foreclose on the right to redemption because we are only co-owners. So there are legal proceedings and constraints there. But with respect to title reports, any and all information that we gather in determining any distinguishable facts associated with the properties, and this one in particular, we're able to foreclose on that right to redemption. That will be included in a comprehensive RFP package for developers who might be interested in the property. So the most information that we can gather for each property is going to be essential for a comprehensive request for proposal. I've also put together an inventory of additional parcels prioritized for development should three that we have identified not turn out to be viable. So that's kind of used as a backup. Yeah, I think like we can move on. I don't want to spend too much time going through each goal, and I think I just want to. It's meant to be a progress report, really. So similarly, I've taken steps to or as developer and agency engagement is concerned, I've taken steps to identify key state agencies such as Rhode Island Housing, Commerce, Rhode Island, DEM, DOA, Planning. I've created a database of local and regional, I've attempted to create a database of local and regional developers with interest in and expertise of rural development. I had initiated contact with Rhode Island Housing to see if they would provide a list of developers, and they were apprehensive. So I'm going to have to come up with a different strategy on how to kind of gather that data. But there's still work to be done in the pursuit of establishing developers' interest. And I've otherwise identified steps to increase engagement. As I just described, sorry. The thing is really trying to find a developer who is both confident and well-versed in rural development, rural areas, interested in foster, and is able or familiar with development on the other side of the urban services boundary. So in other words, working on land that doesn't have sewage infrastructure. Great. Any correspondence, right? Exactly. I will follow up with you on that. Thank you. For me?
Yeah. People, please.
The properties that you're talking about, are these vacant properties that you want to do something with? I'm confused about what you're talking about with these. I don't know if they're foreclosed properties, they're just empty, and you're looking to. Housing there.
So the two properties, two town-owned properties were listed in my scope of work. One of which was the Nike site. And the other, is co-owned by the town. Down the road, probably about a quarter mile down from, Hemlock Village. It's I want to say 38-acre parcel. We have taxes on it. They haven't paid taxes on it since, I want to say 2016. And in order for us to obtain a clean title, we need to petition the courts to foreclose on the right to redemption so that the owner cannot claim. Right, but it's a vacant parcel. The idea is to, and the reason why I submitted grant applications a couple months ago is to have that land surveyed, to determine its capacity and its ability to handle redevelopment for residential purposes. So once we receive word as far as whether or not grant money will be, whether or not we'll receive that grant money, still waiting on that. I guess the state's really been dragging its heels in that regard. But yeah, we need to survey the land first before we can make any determinations on how to proceed with any type of redevelopment. Okay.
So these properties are livable. You know, that's that.
Just for based to your point, the part that I was just talking about, the co-owned, the taxing property, it's all trees. So if someone's squatting there, it's gonna be hard to find them. And the Nike site has a couple of minors, and there are two people who are living there. And that's through the town. They've tenant, they have an arrangement with the town.
Yeah.
So no squatters, and the Nike site is the only parcel with a structure on it, a residential structure on it. Right. Well, the intent in inventorying land throughout town is to find vacant parcels, because if the assumption is that if there's a building or a structure on the property, and we don't happen to co-own it, then it's privately owned. We have no means to be able to move forward with it. Right. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Okay.
Third property.
Oh, right, by the way.
Okay.
So, next slide, please. Article 3, related to other endeavors, overlapping objectives, however, that work serves as a catalyst and springboard for the essential creation of a comprehensive public education campaign. And this campaign is meant to do just what we were engaging in. It's meant to engage the public. It's meant to educate the public on the initiatives that we're working towards, on the different type of housing typologies that might be appropriate for the town of Foster, and other initiatives as well. It's basically, the intent is to gauge the town's concerns, and its interests and its sentiments toward the idea of affordable housing, within this municipality. And I know that there are many opinions on that matter. So that's why I think a public education and engagement campaign is essential in properly determining what type of affordable housing, whether it be elderly, age restricted, or just a general, maybe like 80% of the AMI, because that is considered affordable. We do have plans to put out a survey I remember your name, but you had mentioned, no, Lynn, I knew your name, Beth. You had mentioned concerns about, a survey methodology. I'm working closely with the town planner on ensuring that any surveys we put out will have the proper methodology and processing, that would be expected for valid and valid responses. So that we can. So, just wanted to. I'll let you know that.
So,
Yeah.
I reached out to, Melina Lodge, was it Lodge? Okay, I have it in here, with the state about, coming out to educate people on affordable housing, what it isn't.
Right.
So I'm waiting to hear back from her on a time that we could do that. That would probably have to be, I don't think this would be a space to do it. We'd have to do something at the Isaac Payne School
Sure.
or something like that, but I'm just waiting to hear back.
Okay. If you.
So she can,
Correspond from.
yeah,
Once
so she can, you know, explain what it is. I mean, a lot of people think it is like, you know,
They're gonna come.
the projects, and it's not. Some of the affordable housing is actually very nice
In
and
my,
made to put in
exactly.
this setting.
Yes,
Yeah.
so, what I've done is I've got other. Orville, Gloucester, they have recently developed, age restricted units, and they've been popular.
Yeah,
And I know that there is market.
we
for
do
age
have,
restricted
yes,
units.
for sure we do.
And I made some for that. I don't think that there's necessarily market for affordable housing overall, but as far as age restricted housing.
Yes,
I think that should be a top priority, especially the fact that Hemlock Village has a 3 to 4 year waiting list with people on the waiting list. So, yeah, I mean, that would be incredible, I think.
they would.
It would meet our need.
It would, and it would also open up the stock and increase the vacancy rate, which in theory should lower house prices, and might attract first time.
Yes.
It's kind of, you know, it's a very different process.
Sorry.
Okay, sure.
And this is.
Yeah.
It's in relation to Hemlock Village. I'm on the board of directors. Sue is on the board of directors. We actually have a meeting coming up soon. Didn't write it down. I know it's soon. But have you reached out or spoken to Hemlock Village?
I have.
Because we have extra acreage, and at one point there was
Yes.
talk of putting in, we have about 32 units now, 34 units of adding some unit
On that parcel.
on that parcel.
That was from like, I think 2006, that was
Probably.
about 20 years ago. Yeah.
Probably.
So I have read about that initiative and it hasn't gone
Right.
anywhere.
Right. I mean, just if they-
But it is something that I do have.
right, because I don't know if there's any way to, I mean, Hemlock Village, the corporation, I don't think can afford to do that at this time, but if there's a possibility, if it's even possible to collaborate with the USDA.
Yep.
I don't know. The other question I had was, you said one of the delivery systems to the public would be comprehensive data presentation packages.
Yes.
Would that be
So that's.
online? Would that be?
That would be,
in
that would
person?
be an in-person presentation to the town council. And it would include, and I will go over that actually in a later slide.
Oh, okay.
But you know, just to kind of go over briefly, it'll include such topics as school capacity for, you know, increased students, you know, tax exemptions, other things of that nature. But I do have a list of things as
Right,
far as the
right.
comprehensive.
Okay,
package is
and
concerned.
it just, again, you can see what kind of, you know, a crowd we get. Anything that can also be online is very,
Oh, yes, I'm happy to provide any and all reports, you know, as readily available as needed. If you'd like. Go, yes, please.
And your speech, yeah. Yeah, okay, Anna. Okay. I heard from your speech, and hopefully I'm correct, that you are looking for 10 housing units right now, right?
There isn't an exact number in mind.
There's no exact number in mind, okay?
Census only allowed for 30 units max per parcel. And if we were to even get 30 units, we would need a density bonus. So that would require collaboration with DEM. And
That would be a big route. 30 units is a big difference than 10, okay?
But I'm not sure we got the 10 units from, but our ordinance.
Percent, maybe that's what you think.
146 units to get 10%.
So we will collect money from the state and that's mandated, correct?
Sorry.
That is the mandate from the state that we
Yeah.
have to have so many.
Yeah.
And that is 10 or that's 100 or what?
10%.
10% of the housing stock. So it's.
Housing stock, so that has been already observed and identified, like this lady says, in her place, there are so many parcels which can be used. But we are using foreclosing houses and 2 of them didn't go through, right? Because one went through and the others didn't go through.
So I will actually address that as one of the challenges I've encountered in a later slide.
Today?
Yes, so.
Okay, I wait for that slide
But
then.
as of now, data that I've received is coming from such agents, such institutions as yes, Rhode Island Housing Works RI, US Census
Yeah,
data
yeah.
as well. That's the most readily available data that we have
For that.
for our housing.
So
units.
how many houses do we need to get up for the people?
So let's
for
say,
the- for our
let's say we
town?
have 1,800 housing units, right? We would need 180 affordable units at 10%. Just say a hypothetical.
Are you
off the top.
kidding me? We are only 5,000 population here, and now how many would we need then?
Yeah,
That is a lot, like,
we've got 30 right now.
Last Rhode Island housing report was, we're gonna need 146 to meet our 10%. Then when you add them 146, you just added to your total, so it's actually more than that.
wow, and how much taxes does that increase here then?
That will be included in one of those comprehensive data packages.
Aha, so the town people have to vote on that for the taxes too? Price
That's
like a
so that
state of-
so forgive me, but that's outside the scope of this presentation. I'd be happy to continue a conversation afterwards.
We'll talk to you. Well, when are you available? Because I want to know how much this increases the public way, traffic and taxes and the garbage pick up and so forth and so on.
Okay.
Because we are very far behind and we are very rural compared to the other
Well,
places.
if you recall, I did mention earlier that the state is working to amend the one size fits all approach, right? So if we have a slow market, then they're not going to expect 180 units at the end of the year. Like they might be expecting 6. They're gonna have a formula for each municipality based on the amount of building permits they receive, and then they will work with that municipality to achieve their goals.
There's going to be a big increase in the tax rate and then a garbage pick up and everything like this, right? And the police department. And how many?
I'm sorry.
Police,
For this year,
Yeah.
the goal is to identify viable land first and foremost. We can't just say that we're going to put housing up without the land that can support that housing.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
It's
Okay.
going to be a multi-year process. It's not going to happen in 6 months.
Okay. We can continue.
Thank you. So the remaining element is to draft updated and revised sections of the housing chapter that clearly define actionable goals, measurable objectives, and realistic timelines. Once finished, I'll have completed all deliverables associated with this particular goal. So goal 4 has been actually one of the better ones. And so goal 5 is I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I spoke briefly about what a wastewater management district is. And you guys the council is well aware of the grant submissions that I've already put forward. And we'll continue to identify. I've put together an inventory of appropriate grants that we could move forward on with relation to infrastructure and redevelopment purposes. Next slide, please. So I wanted to include some quantitative metrics here. It's a it's a visual as to the status of objective deliverables. As you can see, just under half have either been completed or otherwise nearing completion, all within 6 months. So I believe that the creation of a comprehensive workflow that you see in front of you has truly allowed me for the time of completion rate, and will continue to do so as I work towards these future endeavors. That's all. Yeah, for that side at least. So challenges I've encountered. Inconsistent or outdated housing data sources, as we touched upon before. I won't get too much into that. The rural character, limiting applicability of traditional affordable housing models, which we've also discussed in here. Legal delays in finalizing closure for tax lien properties, which we've discussed. And lack of formalized developer outreach, which we've discussed. So I'm not going to beat that one to death. Solutions that I have to these challenges, however, as far as inconsistent data, cross-reference the American Community Survey, Census Bureau, Housing Works RI, and local records to improve projection accuracy as far as the overall housing stock in town. For instance, the rental market, the data that most of these agencies or institutions use for our rental market is based on what it would be in comparable or neighboring towns, because we really don't have a rental market. Something I think over 90% of the housing stock is owned, single family owned. So that's just one kind of reference there. As far as I need to see what the other challenge was. You think? Oh, the rural character. So rural character, limiting the applicability of affordable housing. A proposed solution would be to refocus research on rural Rhode Island examples, best practices that have been used in neighboring municipalities, as I've mentioned before, especially with respect to low and moderate income strategies in small towns. With respect to tax lien and co-owned properties, a solution could be to collaborate with the town solicitor and the finance director to expedite foreclosure and the conveyance process. I do know that it is a costly process, which is why we've looked into grants that would cover those legal obligations. And finally, a solution to, what was the fourth one? Sorry, I'm going back and forth. Should have just had it on one slide. Oh, lack of developer outreach. So I would intend to initiate direct engagement with Rhode Island Housing and other state agencies to see and work with them as far as developing an inventory of a developer list. And I will certainly work with Joanna further, as she indicated previously. And also planning targeted outreach in preparation of future public education campaigns. And I'll just go quickly through these. I don't want to, like I said, I'm trying to be concise. So looking ahead to the next quarter, I'd like to begin working on the public education campaign and content creation. The content methodology will be based on the housing needs assessment, which I have completed and happy to share with the council and make it publicly available, as well as any survey findings that we happen to obtain once we put that survey out. I will continue to coordinate with state agencies, support site visits, and assist reuse recommendations regarding the Nike site and potential remediation at that site. Refining developer engagement strategies, complete outreach, and with Rhode Island Housing and other state agencies to assemble developer contact lists. Preparing town council data presentations. Topics include school capacity, property tax impacts, and cluster development benefits as delineated in my scope of work. Cluster development is similar to what you might see in a residential compound, but it's a little different. I'm not going to get into it now. Also refining and finalizing the draft housing chapter of the comprehensive plan. I have recently put together a multifamily housing inventory, working with the tax assessor's records, putting together all 2 to 5 family housing units in town, And I will use that to expand into a full housing typology matrix, which will provide analytical support for the forthcoming update to that the housing chapter. Incorporating a gap analysis, which I've also completed and am happy to share with the council. I will use the findings from that gap analysis report and incorporate it into the draft that can be circulated for internal and external review. And finally, I have a proposal that for a potential housing task force that will involve the formulation of a framework that will define the task force mission and structure, and the relationship between both the planning board and the town council, and how they can work with the task force in advancing housing initiatives. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
No, thank you. Thank you.
Now with the state opening up the whole ADU ability.
Yep.
When I know, they can't hear you on Zoom.
That's going to open up potentially
Density concerns.
a lot of, well, not just density concerns, but would any of those fit this target kind of housing?
It depends.
No.
It's so.
Not at all?
I think the problem becomes with titled ownership.
Joanna, can you put your mic on? I'm sorry. The one over there.
The problem becomes ownership because the ADU is technically owned by the owner of the main property. So it's not really LMI because that main property isn't. That's where the
Okay.
issue comes in.
Okay, and they cannot have a separate,
Well, then it's not an
it's
ADU,
not
then you
an
gotta do a
ADU.
subdivision, yeah.
okay.
That ends up, that's the conundrum. I don't know if the legislature is going to try to do something to perhaps modify what classifies, but that's the issue with it.
I think you might be able to deed restrict, but how would they account for that? I don't know.
Gordon Rogers, Highway Director and State Senator, dealing with housing on that level and fighting a lot of the stuff up the State House. I will say one thing, and it's important, it's gonna be short and quick, and then I'll get on to the subject, the ADUs that I fought a lot. Affordable housing, you control it, or it will control you. So please, listen to what I say. You control it, the law's there, or it will control you. And I've been in a lot of communities where Johnston and other, where this has popped up and it's caused a problem. So if anything on that, that's all I'm saying. That ADUs is correct. The problem with the ADUs is you don't have to be owner occupied. So an investor can come in and buy a house, and he can put up another house to a certain degree of the size next to that house, either 1 or 2 bedroom. So now you have 2 houses on one property, which adds to your housing stock, which means you need more affordable housing to meet your 10%. So it's too much too fast coming, and I just want you to remind you, ADUs can be allowed on every residential property in this town as a separate house. By right, you can't stop them by law. And that adds to your housing stock. So
And the owner don't have to live on the property?
No,
there were competing ADUs that were up at the State House. One was required to be owner occupied.
Uh-huh.
I knew one was coming. I was advocating if one came. I was a no on it. That at least that one be brought forward. It wasn't somehow, some way. The bad one came through that it does no longer have to be owner occupied.
Yeah, that's.
So you're gonna have a lot of landlords and stuff coming in, purchasing properties. I know of 2 ADUs already in the town, since this is going, and a garage was turned into an ADU.
they do need, I mean, I think
Septic has to and water.
septic and
Yeah.
well has to be compliant with the number of bedrooms. So I will say for this community, it's a little harder because there's no automatic sewer hookup. So if your septic isn't big enough for 2 more bedrooms, then you need a whole new septic system.
Right.
So that's somewhat of a deterrent,
Actually,
but
you don't need a whole new licensed design and so.
but you need to.
You would have to add a leg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Just the square footage. So a lot of these investors, what they do, the one I'm talking about that I know of that went to an ADU was an investor bought the house, was run down, put a whole brand new septic system in because it had a cesspool they were required by law. And while they're doing the work, they did it big enough to accommodate the bedrooms and then took the separate garage and turned that into an ADU. So this is where owner occupied, who really don't have the money to do this, doesn't go much. But when you do it to non-owner occupied, these people come in, that was my problem. They come in with big money. They don't care about the septic systems. That money's there to do that, and then they'll flip it or sell it or keep it and rent it. So that was the problem with the non-owner occupied. A lot of people that have money come up here, investors, and they don't care about a septic system problem. They simply just do it.
And that increases the housing stock, which increases our percentage. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Can they take the property by eminent domain?
No.
No.
I sure.
I mean,
no, it-
damage domain right now.
That's,
It's the farmland, right? There's farmland in.
I don't think it meets the test for eminent domain.
Right.
Then what do? They just come and say, oh, we need housing?
Are you asking about like, the state?
Yeah.
If they wanted to pull like a comprehensive permit?
Like.
I don't foresee that happening.
No, they're not taking your house. No, they cannot do that.
Okay, we will see. Thank you.
Okay,
All right. Thank you very
you
much.
got it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good job.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I recently found out that the state will accept housing vouchers as part of the affordable units. So if we have that data readily available, I can compile it or if anybody has any suggestions on how I could, I mean, I'm sure I might be able to find it, like the tax assessor, housing vouchers. Yeah. And that can be counted towards the total affordable percentages. Just something to
Yeah.
think about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice
Good
job.
job so far.
Yeah. Great. Next we have a new ordinance, and this is in regard to vehicle damage. This is something Steve Plouffe was working on with Joanna. And Joanna, can you give us a brief description? And then I think we need to continue this
Yes.
so Steve can have his input.
This was to formalize the process, about pothole claims, because there's a general statute about how to submit a pothole claim to the town council. It's to streamline the process because we never really adopted any ordinance about it. So it's just to streamline that. You have to make the claim within 7 days. It will be reimbursed up to $300. There are some requirements in terms of you need a valid Rhode Island registration, an invoice or an estimate, a copy of the police report, tow receipt, or something verifying that, it actually happened on a Foster road. And the finance director would be able to have the discretion to approve a claim or send it to the town council. So if it was just the straight 300, if she didn't think that there was an issue, she could send it. If it was something that she thought may be a problem or needed to go to the council, it would go to the council. It also has a second prong. If there are claims about processing a claim for damage that's caused damage other than a pothole, if it's 300 and under, there's a whole process. Again, it could be submitted to the finance director. And if it's under $300, she may be able to approve it, or it would get transmitted to the council. And then a third prong in terms of if there is damage that is caused other than a pothole and it's over $300, how you go about submitting the claim, in terms of what you need, the estimates. And then if it is over the deductible, it has to go to the trust. But if it is under our deductible, again, it would go to the town council for approval. So it's just to kind of streamline this process because we don't have anything right now.
Right. So it's an ordinance, but this
Yes.
doesn't require public hearings. It's kind of like a policy.
It does not, per our charter, because it is not zoning or land use, it does not require a public hearing. The ordinance is available in town hall. I think you should have it, Sue. If you don't, you can, but whoever would like a copy. In terms of the pothole, it does follow Rhode Island General Laws 25-513. So it's something we should already be doing, but it's pretty straightforward.
Chief?
Can I add,
It would depend on where too. If it was a state road, it would
That's-
come to us.
Right,
It-
exactly.
It would go straight to the state or the state police. But do you have examples? And there is a state statute for that, the 2514.
Yeah.
Do you have examples of what other than potholes are? Or you're gonna get every Tom, Dick and Harry that runs over a stick?
It needs to be, well, other than a pot, something that it.
We did have one once that drove through a newly tarred road and got tar
Right.
on the car.
And there was something else about something that wasn't graded properly. It again, I mean, I think people are coming in and they don't know how to do it. And they they didn't take a picture of it when it happened. They didn't have a police report. So it doesn't mean that the town will actually accept a claim if it's not based on the town's negligence. I think the tar, there was something else about a road that wasn't great, or maybe it's the tar. that
It
I'm
was,
thinking.
yeah, I know, it was old Plainfield.
Yeah.
Pike.
Yes.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that the council will pay it. It's just, this is what you need to do to preserve your claim.
And will Foster follow the state's mandate that it has to be filed within a certain amount of time?
7 days.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay. So I think, sorry, go ahead.
So Steve already knows.
Steve had asked for this because I guess there was some issues that people didn't, when they came into town hall, it
Yeah.
wasn't streamlined. There's not
Mhm.
a complete form. So yes, Steve had asked for this. This was the language that he had approved.
Okay, so is there a reason why we should move it forward? Because we have nothing on the books right now.
Right.
We can't approve it until it's the second meeting. So we
Oh,
can
okay.
sign on the 25th.
Okay.
This is the first meeting. Yeah.
Okay.
So it isn't public hearing. It's just got to be on 2 meetings,
Yes. And you
Okay.
have to, I mean, if people have questions, concerns,
Okay.
just like the
yes,
synopsis you just gave.
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So we don't,
Make a motion.
Like, there's no motion.
you don't need a motion.
No motion. I mean, I guess we can.
We can just continue it
Question.
to the next meeting. Okay, thank you.
If we had had a preservation meeting on Wednesday, but we did because the electrician was coming in and everything. The Preservation Society is going to write a letter asking the town to take care of the dead and dying trees on the side of the parking lot over near the townhouse,
Mhm.
because that's where people park their cars, particularly if they come to preservation. And it's only a matter of time
Mhm.
before something happens. And I guess if we inform you, that means that it's your problem should something happen and not ours.
We have a budget for that.
Yeah, because they are bad.
Yeah.
There's always big branches.
Yes. Was that one of the things that got cut?
There are a lot of trees in town that need to come down.
Yeah.
I've only got a $25,000 line item. Do you want me to come? I don't think it's on.
Yeah, I mean, it's
yeah.
not on the agenda, so, but it's a concern and we'll note it. Yep. Okay, so next on the agenda, we have the revision of ordinance section 12-48 business dumpsters. So, Gordon, I would like you to speak on this one since you were in charge of this.
Gordon Rogers, Highway Director.
So, yeah, you were given a list of businesses to sign off on for the dumpsters in accordance with that section. And it was a requirement for licensing.
Correct. So I did somewhat field a lot of phone calls. Boston Country Club, Lucky's, multiple other asking questions. Upon my review, I think I only found 2 that would actually meet the requirement. All the others would be a failure. So you're talking about a 95% failure rate. And it's kind of confusing. I think the planning board's gist was so you don't see something. You don't see a dumpster in front of a business. They wanted it shielded around three sides. Well, the one that actually, of the two, one of them that actually is passable does have three sides fenced, to the woods to the side, to the woods to the back, to the woods to the right, but right there in full view, because there's no front to it. It only requires to be shielded on three sides. So there's one example of one that actually passes that I don't know why we're shielding it from the squirrels and the rabbits, but not the street. So many of the others don't meet the 35-foot setback. Many of them don't meet the shielding, the landscaping. Many of them don't meet the 50-foot setback from a residential property. In our town, it's not like we have one big strip of commercial property. That commercial, budding commercial, we have commercial property, residential, commercial property, residential, commercial property. And many of them will require variances to even meet that standard. Because the commercial properties, pre-existing non-conforming, are extremely small. One example by Whippoorwill Terrace. You have three houses directly behind. Their lot is only 100 feet wide by 50 foot deep. How are you going to get a 50 foot from the residence and 35 from the side? So it's, some of them are literally absolutely impossible to meet this. So it's a high bar and a standard. I think it got thrown out there. So like I said, that's where we stand with it. I don't know. Do you have any other questions?
No, and there are some businesses that aren't producing any trash.
Yes. So for example, I won't mention one business has nothing. I ask them what they do. They said they take it home and they put it on the curb. Their curb is in another town. Their curb, I gotta listen to what they say, but the requirement says you must have a dumpster or you must have a appropriate, like a shipping container sealed that you can put it. They don't have either, but they bring it home to another town. I'm not gonna mention the town, but the town don't pay tipping fees, so that town don't care about what's on the curb. That might enlighten you on where that's getting on the curb, but others have no other place to put it. So.
Thank you.
Well, I think the majority are probably small businesses, right? So basically, we're hurting them. If they get, I
That's
mean,
what I,
we're hurting them.
yes, that's
Well,
what I thought.
just to clarify what this does, it doesn't, the requirement for businesses to have dumpsters and for it to be shielded properly, that's still there. So somebody could still issue a zoning violation if they wanted.
Exactly.
But this would not prohibit them from being able to renew their license. So the amendment or the proposed modification to section 1248 just removes section B that says that a dumpster is required for the issuance or a renewal of a business license. So.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had, I believe there were 4 pages about that, right, Sue? 4 pages of businesses that would not be able to renew their licenses.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Yes, but I think I don't believe that it meets all of the things that were in that ordinance, but that's not even what we're getting at right now. We just want to remove the requirement for this, for a license, and leave it to, if there's an issue, leave it to zoning, and it becomes that issue. That's all it is.
So we're gonna move this tonight.
We don't have
We
to.
don't have to.
No, it's just an amendment.
This is the first hearing, so it would be on the next hearing. Yeah.
We'll have to put it on the next one
Yes.
to amend it.
Yes.
Okay, for a vote. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to?
Yes.
So if the license is not required, if it doesn't impact, what is the stick? As
The
opposed to-
recourse is zoning, filing
Yeah.
through zoning.
We also know how far that has gotten us. It's just that I would hate to see standards lowered. You had mentioned, or somebody had mentioned variances. Sure. If something's impossible, get a variance.
Right.
However, don't lower the standards, because if you are trying to get, and I don't care what kind of a business it is in town, even if it is some kind of housing. Hemlock Village has a dumpster or 2 or 3 or something. You have to have that. You can always relax the standard. You cannot strengthen.
So this
something that's
isn't,
already there.
this is not changing that standard. It's just removing the requirement for
It's
licensing.
changing the enforcement because we
No.
have people who,
The enforcement would go to zoning.
which again has been ineffectual in so many areas. At least this was something. You get it done.
It was something that was going to have 4 pages of businesses not be able to renew their license while they're hanging on by a thread. And then they would, and it's very costly for some businesses that are barely making it. We have a lot of those in town that are barely making it. And you have some businesses that aren't producing a lot of trash. And for example, my business, I have a company, Rambone, that comes in and I pay like $230 a month for them to come and remove my trash. There are businesses that can't afford that, especially if they're not producing any trash. And we don't want to discourage businesses. We don't want to make things harder for our existing ones and new ones coming in.
But you do want to hopefully upgrade the appearance of Route 6, which this, obstructing it from public view, keeping it clean, keeping the vermin out, keeping it from smelling, keeping it at least painted so it doesn't become a rusted pulp, and a cover so that things are not entering it in and out. How is that, such a burden as opposed to the public benefit?
Right. And I mean, when new businesses come into town, and there are some businesses, mine, for example, my dumpster is up in the back where nobody can see it. Nobody sees it. Why do I have to put a fence around it? And having it freshly painted, I can't demand that the company that I rent from paint their dumpster. Most of them do have the phone numbers and stuff on them. But when they're covered on 3 sides, who sees them? And then to have it sanitized once a month, who does that?
Well, I would hope more people, because that's how you get rats.
Again,
I'm just saying, if you're trying to upgrade Route 6, you've got to start somewhere.
Right.
And if you just say, oh, well, we keep throwing up your hands, well, we can't do that, we can't do this, we can't do that, then you're gonna do nothing, which is what has been happening.
well, I want to keep the businesses that we have. And I don't want to make it more difficult for our businesses we may get. And they all have to go before planning, and that can be part of that.
Stipulation.
Absolutely.
And it goes nowhere.
That's what zoning's for.
Need a municipal court. Yeah.
We disagree. Is there any more
No,
discussion?
good.
You good? Anybody else? So we'll just continue this again, Sue, to the next meeting. Okay, thank you. Next we have a bid approval for gas and diesel. And you got the letter, Chris? It's right here if you need it. Do you want that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I'll read it. On September 25th, 2025, at 1 p.m., bids for the town of Foster fuel, gas, and diesel closed. And we had only one bidder, Dennis Burke, Inc., with gas at 0.265 per gallon over cost, diesel at 0.195 per gallon over cost. This is our current provider, and I recommend the town council award the fuel bid to Dennis Burke, Inc. for the above listed fuel amounts. It is an increase over last year's award of 2.5 cents more on gas and 5-cent increase on diesel. And that was the recommendation of the Public Works Director.
I make a motion, we go with the director's recommendation with Dennis Burke, Inc. for the prices that are noted. Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and none opposed, so that passes. We have bid approval for winter sand. Do you have that one, or do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a bid opening. And there were 3 bidders for winter sand. There was DeFazio Materials LLC at $21.90 delivered per ton delivered. $18.90 per ton picked up. JR Vinagro, $29.35 delivered, and $20 even picked up. Diggers Sandbox LLC, $46 per ton delivered, or $36 per ton picked up. And the DPW director has recommended DeFazio Materials LLC, which was the lowest bidder.
I make a motion to accept the DPW director's recommendation for DeFazio Materials LLC at 21.90 delivered and 18.90 picked up.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I don't have that information in front of me. Gordon, do you know exactly how much? It,
They're the lowest.
yeah, we really don't have much of a choice. Okay, anything else? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and none opposed, so that motion passes. And the last item is bid approval for gravel. Do you have that one, Chris?
No.
Okay. I will read it. The bid opening produced 3 bids. The first, JR Vinagro Corp. At $17.67 delivered, $10.50 to be picked up in Coventry. DeFazio Materials LLC, $18 per ton delivered, $15 per ton picked up. Diggers Sandbox, price delivered is $22 per ton, picked up $12 per ton. And the recommendation from the DPW director is JR Vinagro at $17.67 per ton delivered and $10.50 a ton for pickup in Coventry.
Okay, I'll make a motion to go with the DPW director's recommendation, JR Vinagro Corporation. 17.67 a ton delivered and 10.50 picked up in Coventry.
Second.
Is there any discussion? No? Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, none opposed, the motion passes. And Chris, this is your favorite part of the meeting, the next item. I'll give it to you. Here you go. There you are. Right there.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there- Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.